I apologize for several things. One, I'm not very good on time. Everything to me is the present moment. So even though we had done this well in advance, I totally forgot about the time. I just realized it about an hour ago. I'm not joking. So I want to apologize. Yeah, I just woke up about an hour and a half ago.
Oh, okay. Well, this is it. Hopefully this will be a good way to start your day.
Well, every day is a great day.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I just have to check a few things and push a few buttons and make sure that we go live on Facebook. So just give me a couple of minutes here. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thank you so much for agreeing to do this on, well, not short notice, but definitely for agreeing to do it. It really is an honor to be able to talk with you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're here. All right, let me just make sure of this. Get this.
Do we have the where's the note?
Here.
No, the one that says you know, we had it taken back. What's the matter? There was tape on the back.
Okay. All right, that's that.
Are we good?
Yep, we're definitely good.
Okay.
All right, so let's do this.
What kind of a viewership do you have? Don't mind me asking.
What kind of a what?
What kind of viewership do you have?
In terms of numbers or
Yeah,
where they come from?
well, yeah, numbers and whatever information you can share.
It varies. It depends on who the guest is.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Right?
That'll drop your ratings quite a lot.
Oh gosh, no, not at all. Not at all. So you know, if I don't know how many of the Jeet Kune Do people you're familiar with, but there's a lot of interest in, because your name is so recognizable. So of course there are a lot of people who will tune in for this. The only thing is, when I use Zoom and Facebook, I have to post to a particular group. When I use the other platform, Be Live, I can do it on my own page. That's the only difference. But
but doing that, what is the difference? I don't understand how this thing works.
Okay, so one thing about the Be Live platform is that they allow your viewers, when they see your face and my face next to each other, they see our talking heads. Be Live allows me to put another panel in on the screen at the same time.
Well,
So,
a third person.
yeah, so if I was asking you about a cover story in official karate, I could put up that image so that everybody would see it at the same time.
I see.
But
I see.
Yeah, but Zoom doesn't allow that. So that's a little bit of a problem. All right. Okay. So let me push this button. Make sure over here. Okay. And I think that did it all. And you, sir, we are now live on Facebook. So I want to say welcome to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. For those of you who might not recognize my dialogue partner today, Mike Stone is a two-time Black Belt Magazine Hall of Fame inductee who retired undefeated as a Black Belt Kata and Kumite champion in 91 consecutive wins. So we're going to find out from him today, how does somebody do that? All right, so Mike Stone, welcome to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
My pleasure to have you. You know, these type of interviews, sometimes they try to start in a chronological order, but from what you said to me before we came live, can I ask you if the Mike Stone of today, is he the Mike Stone you always wanted to be or always planned to be, or did it evolve along the way?
That's how many questions are those? Actually, it's a combination of all those things. It's been an incredible evolution for sure.
Yeah.
The person I am today is really, to answer your question, is the person I've always wanted to be. Yeah. And my desire to be this idea of myself started when I was quite young, actually about 11 years old. And many things happen in your life, and that's the evolutionary part. And there's no guarantees in life. So as I was going through the evolution, the thing that struck me the most was when I was 18, going on 19. I just started karate in the Army, in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, and I started competing in martial arts tournaments. And I just gotten out of high school, maybe about 5-6 months before that. And I just noticed such a change in what my perception was about martial arts. Because when I was growing up in Hawaii, most of my friends, even though I'm Hawaiian Filipino American, my closest friends were not oddly enough, but to my liking, were Japanese. I liked the people, the culture, the food, the women, everything about the Japanese society I fell in love with without really knowing what I was falling in love with. And then martial arts, I was introduced to Aikido. That's the first martial arts that I took when I was a junior in high school. So, but I had expectations, like I think a lot of martial artists do when they go into it. I think most martial arts people, just on my perception and what I've noticed back then until today, very much so. And not necessarily just martial artists, human beings.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be the best they can be.
Yeah.
Everybody starts off having dreams, ideals, goals, and everybody wants to be their best. Finding that path, being that person, living that idea is just another thing. Now, people call it reality because it's not always what's going to be. And for me, martial arts was really an idea. It was when I saw my first Aikido instructor was Koichi Toihei, who is the #1 disciple of Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido.
Yes.
I was blessed enough to take my first 2 weeks of Aikido with him when he was on tour in Hawaii.
Okay.
But when I saw him perform, I saw his attitude, I saw his determination, his patience, his simplicity. when I saw all of these combinations in one person and that he was able to make transitions between this controlled violence that he had the potential of being and who he was expressing himself as a teacher,
Yeah.
then as a practitioner, it was something that really fascinated me. I really thought, wow, this would be a nice way to live, to be this way.
Right.
So that was my ideal. And when I got into karate, I was really blessed that my first karate instructor, who was from Hawaii, actually, and I had actually, his youngest brother was my hero in American football. He was an end at the high school I went to. And I went to this high school as a boarder for 4 years. So again, the universe is so complex, but so simple in its design.
Yes.
That we often miss the beauty of it, the wisdom of it. We miss a lot of these things because we're looking like Bruce did in the movie. If you're looking at the moon or the stars, whatever, you're not here.
Yeah.
And that whole idea, it's so true. So for me, it was when I started karate, I was blessed that I had an instructor that really was similar to Toihei, the Aikido guy, in many ways. And I thought, wow, this is great. And I was doing so well, so fast, that within 6 months from the day I actually started training, I became the world champion in black belt, and not long out of high school. I was only 19 at the time. So
right.
I was quite confused as to what was the difficulty. I saw people expressing frustration, anxiety, worry, fear. I was wondering, why are they going through these horrendous emotions when it was a complete breeze for me? Everything was effortless. There was nothing difficult ever.
Right.
In what I did physically. I didn't have the mental understanding, but to do the physical things was like, what's the problem? It was so effortless.
Yeah.
And to see everybody else around me, and my very good friends, Joe and Chuck, and a lot of the top competitors, they were consistent within the realm of, well, who's judging consistency in winning all the time? So when I was winning all the time, it was the most natural thing for me to experience. Why? Because that was my idea. I went out with the idea of doing my best and being the best person I can be while I was doing what I was doing.
Right.
So I found out that a lot of people don't know the distinction, that they really don't understand at a soul's level what the difference is between doing and being. Doing is simply the physical expression of the body. Of course, it comes from the thoughts of the mind. But beingness is a state of mind. So if you create it and you already have a state of mind, or they call it a mindset,
Yeah.
if you already have created a particular mindset that is a belief, that means that's who you already are. It's not something you have to become. Becoming something is the problem, I noticed. For everybody, they were trying to become something they were not. So this trying to make a transition from being an idea and expression of something that you don't believe you are to begin with is going to be a challenge.
Is that the stumbling block? Is that the stumbling block for so many people?
I think for everyone. I mean, whether you're doing marbles, hula hoop, jacks, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
I mean, and the problem really is, again, if I may, it's your thinking. The problem with every human being is their thinking and their belief system. And they have not come to the realization earlier enough in life that they can make these transitions effortlessly. Why effortless? Because that's the natural law of the universe. I found out that the difficulties I've had in my life, and I've made many mistakes, or I call them negative choices, but I found out that when I was trying to be something I was not already, I created a negative situation. I was trying to be natural when I was not natural. When I was trying to be someone I was not already, that presented a problem.
Yeah.
So the secret really is, if we take a moment to understand the natural laws that exist in the universe and follow those laws, now I'm not saying don't follow man-made laws, but of course within reason, and you decide what laws man makes,
Right.
that are within your integrity, honor, and respect structure.
Yeah.
So it's just this idea that most of us are trying so desperately, and we're looking so much in life, but the journey for most of us is we're looking exterior, we're looking outside of ourselves to find what we think we can identify with, that we can say, that's what I like, that's who I am, that's what I want to do. Not realizing that still those observations are exterior observations. They're from your perception of what you're seeing. And you're seeing whatever you're seeing and identifying with outside of yourself. So immediately you start off with a negative situation,
Right.
that it's not really you. So when you look at the things that you gravitate to and you say, well, I like that, that's good, let me try that for a while. And you do that for a while until you realize, no, that's not me. I'm not good at that. I'm stupid. I'm fat. I'm lazy. I'm ugly. I'm no good. I won't amount to anything. And when you start believing many of the perceptions that you were taught to believe as a child is who you are, then you don't question authority. You don't question what you perceive of as love, which is your parents. And yet, without being disrespectful at all, if people have an open mind that are listening, that I realize now, not for all of you, but for my particular situation, is my parents taught me how to be afraid.
Yeah.
That was the lessons I learned. And I learned how to be afraid so that they could conform me to be a nice, calm, quiet, decent, respectful child. So they had to make you afraid. So everything that they taught you was taught with a fear-based reality. And when you start off life being afraid, don't be surprised if when you're 35, 40, 50, 60 years old, you haven't gotten rid of any of the basic fears that ended up being your perception of who you are. And that's what you've been living all of your life. So I find that in my program, the Life Changing Experience, that the vast majority of people, in fact, I'm not going to say vast, I'll be obnoxious and say all of them, have still so many fears that they don't even believe, they're not aware, they're not consciously aware that they are afraid of many things, and that these are the stumbling blocks, as you use, that's interfering with making a smooth transition throughout life.
Yeah.
That everything, if you stop and realize that you're afraid of what, get down from there. Your parents will say, get down from there. You want to break your neck? Don't touch that. You want to get electrocuted? Don't go near the water. You want to drown?
Right.
Hold your sister's hand. You want to get run over? Almost everything they teach you is how to be afraid of something that they say they love you and they're trying to protect you from, which is true, but that's a hell of a way to teach somebody something.
Right.
Why not teach them with love first?
Yeah. Can we say that they were doing the best that they could with what they knew?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no, I'm not faulting anyone. I'm not
Right.
faulting my parents at all. Listen, you can only teach what you know.
Right.
I mean, if a martial arts teacher get out there, I mean, he's going to tell you how limited he really is, because that's what he carries.
Yeah. It's incredible because let me make sure I got this right. When you started with Sensei Peters, you saw in this Western person a lot of what you saw in the Oriental person, your Oriental instructor also, correct?
Yes.
Well, isn't that incredible?
But that was a rarity.
Right.
What I saw in Herbert Peters, who had trained in Okinawa for about 13 years, what I saw in him was an infusion. Again, if I may say, your instructor is your parent. So you're teaching and learning. Your instructor teach you fears, what to be afraid of, what to do, what you cannot do, what you're capable of being. It's the same thing. You're just changing an instructor for your parent. So as you evolve in life, you're having different parents. You're creating, you're looking and finding people
Right.
that you want to gravitate to, that you want to love and learn things from. But they're still, in a sense, a parent, because you're giving them that honor, respect, and integrity that they have. And that's what we're looking for. So we're looking again outside of ourselves to find who is it I can emulate, what role model can I use. And I'm not saying it's a wrong thing or a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. Again, if the people who are listening truly open up their heart and mind to what I'm saying and look inside yourselves for the truth of what you have experienced personally, not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is my experiences. It's not yours.
Yeah.
But you have your own experience if you're honest enough. And I'm not saying people are not, but for the most part, they're not.
Yeah. How many instructors do you think realize then the inherent responsibility in being an instructor?
Very few.
Ah.
No. Very, very, very few. Trust me, very few. Wow. And I've seen a lot of the good ones, the best ones.
And a lot of the bad ones.
No. Well, it's not that they're bad. They're just teaching what they know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not judging what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. You when you were talking at one point, you did sound philosophically like Bruce Lee to me.
Well, we were very much alike. That's one of the things that actually Bruce and I were never attracted to each other in anything I think that we did physically. There was nothing Bruce did that I couldn't do. And I was 185 pounds and 5'11". So Bruce was never intimidating to me. I never looked to him for any learning techniques. I never looked to him for anything like that. First experience with Bruce was something quite nice for me because I was so much like him. We were both arrogant, conceited, talented, gifted, and accepted it as this is who we are.
Right.
So when you saw when Bruce first talked at a officials rules meeting in 1964 at the internationals, and he started putting down a lot of the other styles, especially the Japanese systems, and talking about styles and how they're no good and they're structured and they're limited and they're confined and they're all of these ideas. And when I was listening to him, again, listen, we can listen to the same person at the same moment and walk away from a different perception. So hearing what I heard, I didn't hear it as criticism or knocking me or my style or my system. I looked at it as, man, this guy's pretty honest. I mean, he's coming out and saying what he really feels. And the thing that I was shocked at was he was saying what I already felt, but didn't have the courage to say.
I see.
So already the philosophy about Tohei, the philosophy of my instructor, these were things that I appreciated. But immediately when I started the tournament circuit, I started moving around and competing and seeing it so rapidly, so many tournaments in a row, so fast, and the different quality and the different instructors and the attitudes, I was going like, what the hell am I learning? What are people teaching? And this isn't martial arts. And that's why it took me a long time, because I'm a slow learner, right? It took me a long time to realize this is not for me. And it took me a long time to have the courage to just up and leave America, just up and say, this is not the direction that, and I was partly responsible as a pioneer, as someone that people considered one of the best. It was my responsibility. And what I did with it after I was competing, I did tournament circuits. I mean, I did promotions. I did all these other things. I did movies. I did not do a good job. I did not feel comfortable with what I was sharing. And yet I knew internally, I knew who I was. I knew how I did what I did. And I was looking around and wondering why everyone around me was going, gee, you make it look so easy. It's effortless for you. You're lucky. You're talented. You're gifted. And I said to myself, well, so are you. So
Right.
what's the problem?
Yeah.
And the problem was people, again, are just, they're consumed. They're consumed with an idea. And listen, I give everybody has desire, drive, determination, persistence, wonderful qualities. But if you're using it in the negative direction, then you're not going to get the results you want.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is where I just got off the thing. I said, this is not for me. Let me go do what I really feel I can do. So I created a system here. I've been living on this property I'm at right now for 35 years. So I've learned a lot. I've learned more being alone here than
Yes.
I ever did from all the people I've trained with.
And from being surrounded by so many people.
I'm sorry again.
And
by what?
By being surrounded by so many people.
Where?
Well, because if I read your biography, there's traveling to Chicago, to Virginia, to California on the fight circuit. So you're constantly surrounded by people. And can I ask you a question about the old days of being on the fight circuit? Were you sponsored by someone, or did you have to pay all of that for yourself? How did that work?
No, I was very blessed. I was still in the Army. The Army sponsored me.
Ah.
I was in the military for 3 years. So from 1962 to 65,
Okay.
I was in the Army. So
Right.
the tournament I had gone to, once I started doing very well in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Dallas, Texas, and the Nationals, those first 3 events I fought as a brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
When I went back, the military was quite happy to have someone that was doing something outside of the norm. So they started to sponsor every trip I went to, because I was winning everything every time. So every time I wanted to go somewhere, they would finance my trip.
Excellent, excellent. So you were there competing in 1964 at the first internationals in Long Beach.
Yeah.
But now, how long did it take before you and Bruce Lee started hanging out together?
That evening when I won the internationals in 1964, Ed Parker had invited Bruce to do a demonstration, and he talked that morning during the officials rules meeting. And that night he did his little demonstration thing.
Okay.
So after that, Ed Parker, June Ree, Bruce, and myself went to Chinese dinner as a celebration. And Ed Parker and June Ree were talking business because they were promoters and everything. Right. And then Bruce and I just went off to the side, and we hooked up right away. It was nothing physical. It was all about philosophy, mindset.
Yeah.
You know, you can, I think if you're somewhat conscious, if you're somewhat aware, and no matter who you meet, there will be a transfer of vibrational impressions. There's energy. Everything is energy. Everything. There's nothing that does not have energy. So, and all energies vibrate at particular frequencies.
Yes.
The vibration of thought is the most powerful asset we have as human beings, our mind. So this vibrates very high. And when it vibrates, it can repel or attract similar vibrations. Mm-hmm. So when you walk into a room and you see a beautiful chick across the room and you go, man, she looks hot, I'd like to meet her. And she happens to turn and look at you at the same time, you make eye contact, and there's an invisible communication. That electricity, that communication is thought vibration. Now, for that to happen, it can happen 2 ways. One is that the energy that you are sending to say, wow, she's a hot chick, and the one that she looks back and say, wow, he's a cool guy, it's of similar vibration. Same. Mm-hmm. The frequency, actual frequency of energy is similar. So it's attractive to each other. Right. But if I looked across and said, wow, she's a hot chick, and she said, what a dump that guy is. Different energy. Yeah. So if you have one gear rotating at a particular speed and another one at a much slower speed, those two can never engage.
Right.
You're going to have chaos and confusion.
Yeah.
So when Bruce and I started talking to each other, we were on the same page. We understood each other sometimes without talking.
I got it. Yeah. I think earlier on when we started, you said that the physical aspect of all of this, you got that immediately, but the mental aspect took you a while to develop.
Yes.
So what was your strategy then for developing, let's call it, for lack of a different expression, a fighter's mindset?
Yes. Well, I was blessed again. No man is an island unto himself, right? So I said my life changed when I was 11.
Yes.
When I was 11, the most traumatic thing could ever happen in my life was my mother died.
Okay.
At the moment of her death, I went through a change without understanding what was happening to my thinking. I started to change my thinking. So when I talked to you, in fact, before we started the program, when I talked to you, I said, I have a problem with time.
Yeah.
And this is very true. I live in a very different time frame here. Everything to me is the present moment. So anybody that sets an appointment, I completely don't think about it anymore until they call me the day before. So it's not important. It's not important to me.
Yeah.
So, but that mindset was, I was also blessed to have a coach in high school, an assistant football coach named Jimmy Gregg. And my junior summer, the summer I actually took Aikido for 2 weeks, was the same summer before my senior year that I stayed back at the high school where I was a boarder and worked for the 3 months prior to starting my senior year. And Jimmy Gregg saw something in me, and this is after our football season, after graduating junior, and he came up to me because I would go downtown, and he lived in the community where my high school was at.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw me a couple of occasions. He said, listen, Mike, what are you doing in the summertime? I said, nothing. He said, well, listen, if you don't mind, I'd like to prepare you for next year's football season. So if you have time during the summer vacation, which I had all the time in the world, I'd like to come up to the school and spend time with you working on getting your stamina, your condition, because this guy was a fitness maniac, and get you ready. And I want to teach you, blocking, punting, kicking, passing, tackling, everything. So he did. He came up and spent 2 months, and he changed my life completely. Really, he is if there's one person that had an impact that had lasted this long, is him. So he said this guy never quits. So even my junior year when I was playing football, he was so hard, so tough. Everybody hated him. I loved him. Mm-hmm. The harder he made it, the more I liked him.
Right.
So when the 2 months we finished my junior summer, I was ready to play 60 minutes of football both ways, offense and defense. So when I played my senior year, we played only, we have 3 teams, we played 6. So we had 2 preseason. I've only played 8 football games in my entire senior year. 8 football games. In 8 football games, from a junior that was questionable as to how good he would be, in the 2 months with Jimmy, I created such an incredible mindset that in only 6 to 8 football games I played, I was selected as an all-star. I was selected as a decade all-star, as one of the best ends in the state of Hawaii for 10 years. Yeah. And yet I was given the award for 9 years I never played. I only played 1 year. I was the captain of the football and basketball team. I ran the 400 meters in track. From that moment on in my life, everything I did physically was effortless.
Yeah.
I can do anything.
Were you supposed to go on to college and play sports?
Yes, I was given a couple small scholarships and everything, but my dad wouldn't support it. So I taught my dad a lesson. I joined the army 2 weeks after I graduated. The greatest lesson I ever taught him, because if I wasn't for the army and meeting, listen, all the stars fell into place for me. Trust me,
Right.
throughout my life.
Yeah.
So it's not me. I was blessed to have people around me that I vibrated equal to what they was willing to share and give me. I absorbed as much as I could. I took advantage of it. I did the best with what I could. And as a result of it, I have lived a blessed life.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing now is I want to take this philosophy that's really quite different. We do it here at the house. People come from all over the world to spend 7, 14, 21, or 30 days. There's no eating, complete. There's juice fasting. But we had people lose 33 pounds in 21 days, 5.5 inches off their waistline. And this was never their goal.
Right.
And yet we work hard for 8 hours a day. We train very hard. There's puddles of sweat, but yet we work on the 3 aspects of who we are. We work on our spirituality, not religion. I'm not interested in organized religion.
Yeah.
We work on our mentality, which is the mindset I'm talking about. And we work on our physicality, which is effortless. Yeah. Once you get your spirituality reconnected to who you really are, and your mindset grounded in a particular way of believing, thinking, and feeling, and then your body simply is the tool that you're using to express yourself. So what's the problem? We do it differently.
Yeah.
We do it. The whole world does everything ass backwards, if I may. We focus too much on the physical body.
Yeah.
We have an obsession with weight, looking good, feeling good, taking drugs. Everything is about the physical body.
Right.
And then we work through the mentality, which is quite difficult to work that way, because the body, you have more memory in the cells of your body than you do in your brain.
Right.
Your body can store more memory than your brain. Think about that for a moment. So what is your body storing, if not memory?
Yeah.
It's stored feelings and emotions.
I wanted to ask you that. What role does emotion play in all of this?
Pretty much everything. I mean, that's who we are.
Right. Yeah. Because you talked about
we live in the physical world because that's what we are. We're physical beings.
Yes. You mentioned physical, mental, and spiritual. So I wondered what's done to cultivate emotional, let's call it emotional intelligence, emotional balance, or something like that.
But we already get that, right? I mean, the emotion, because we're physical beings and because that's how we learned. Remember when I said our parents teaches us fear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What emotion do you think is fear?
Right.
It is the most dominant emotion we have.
Yes.
There's nothing more negative and powerful than fear.
Yes.
Look at the COVID crisis. That's all about fear, and it's spread across the globe.
Yes.
So this is a commonly shared reality, fear, and we all have it. And that is stored in the body because you will have a physical sensation reaction, but it comes from your mind.
Yeah.
You are condoning fear. You are being compliant with the idea of the fear that you feel. And where are you going to store it? You're going to store it in your body. Of course, your mind will store it as memory.
Yeah.
But the emotionality of it is physical. When you have a traumatic accident or an operation, that feeling when somebody hurts you and you get a divorce and you lost your family or your child or something, what do you think this is? It's not only mental storage of memory, it's emotional memory that you're storing. And if you can't clear that out of your body, you're going to create manifestations of this negativity stored within the cells of the body and different organs of the body, that you will have dis-ease. You will create diseases.
Yeah. What's the opposite of fear? Is it courage or love?
Love.
Ah.
There is nothing stronger than love unless you are afraid.
Right. So that would probably then be one of the most important lessons that can be taught inside or outside of martial arts.
Of course. Listen, please, if I may, I respect you a lot. I know what you guys have been doing, and I value it. It has tremendous value. There is not in martial arts or out of it. It's not in life or out of it. When you start separating, when you start using distinctions that separate you from you.
Yeah.
When you start making separations with identities and labels and things like, when you start to do this, understand something, please. Every time you create a separation, an idea of yourself that's different, another aspect, well, I believe this, but I also believe this, and I also believe that. Every separation you make is creating a new reality. You must contend with your creation. That aspect, that idea you say you believe in, that is going to occupy your time and your energy. So every new manifestation you create, I'm this, I'm that, I'm like this. But in karate, no, it's not in karate. This is you. But in my life, I'm a carpenter, I'm a make. No, you're not those things. You do those things in life.
Right.
You are not those things.
Yeah.
You do them. So again, you tie in your physicality and you make it an identity. I do karate. I am more than that.
Right.
That is an aspect of what I choose to express myself.
Yes.
That's not me, not all of me.
Mm-hmm. This is going to sound funny. Everything that we've talked about thus far, where does the writing of Enter the Ninja play into that?
Again, it goes back to my childhood. When I was young, I loved to watch Japanese movies. I loved to watch samurai movies. So I was fascinated. From grammar school, my friends were all, my closest friends were not Hawaiian, oddly enough. They were Japanese. So I gravitated toward that. So if it was a even when I opened my first karate school, I would take 19, 20 students to the Kokusai Theater on Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles and watch Zatoichi, the blind swordsman. Yeah. I mean, I was always into that. So even watching those, the swordsmanship, that's what my preference was as a weapon. So when I did the ninja movies, I did mostly sword choreography. So it started way back. It was just, again, if I may, the sooner you identify and you integrate who you are,
right,
and put it in what you're doing,
yes,
then what you're doing is effortless. When you don't have a clue about who you are, it's going to be a challenge, my friend.
I see. The thing, some people are gonna be upset with me if I don't ask you about the movie experience. You was, I think your first movie experience was stunt doubling for Dean Martin in The Wrecking Crew.
Yes, thanks to Bruce. Bruce got me that part.
Okay. Yeah. Did this actually ties in the bodyguard work and the stunt work? Was there any special training for that stuff, or it was just something that you did?
No, I didn't go to security school. I didn't go to bodyguard courses. No, listen, these things are already, when you are an idea, if I may, I'm going to sound repetitive here. Right?
No, that's fine. I'm a slow learner.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people out there are doing their best to comprehend maybe even what I'm saying. I don't know. I hope I'm articulate enough to express it in a way that they can go, oh, I got that. So, yeah, if you already are an idea of yourself, then you don't have to become it. Becoming something means you're not it. You can't become something. You can't become it if you're not it. If you're it, there's nothing to become. So did I learn security things? No, but did I learn in life how to be respectful? If I'm going to approach someone and my job is to be courteous and nice and not a bully and not look like I don't look like a bodyguard. I'm not 250, can bench press 500. But can I talk to people in a respectful way that I can maybe convince them? I think what you're about to do is not the smartest thing on earth because you might get hurt. Just that thought, a possibility.
Yeah.
Not can I, will I? But when they look, a lot of times in some of my bodyguard work, especially with Field Spectre, because he was always looking for trouble. People would always look at me and go like, well, who the hell is this guy? Because I was always dressed in a suit. I was always, Phil was always dressed like a hippie. Yeah. So every place we go, when we went to New York, England, wherever we went, whenever he would put himself in a negative situation and I would have to be there, they would look at me like, what's this guy? He's your bodyguard? Are you kidding? You know? And I always put up my hands like this. Now, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to approach somebody. I put my hands up in an apologetic, submissive way, not with my fist closed, like, come on, Jack. Mm-hmm. Always apologizing from the beginning. My hands are up. So I'm ready to deflect anything, but I'm also ready to strike right from here. Mm-hmm. So these simple things you learn, just common sense things. If you're in a situation, like, do people sucker punch you? All the time if they get a chance. Yeah. So don't give them a chance. If you give them a chance, make sure that the opportunity they have is lessened, that the impact is lessened. You give them the wrong side. You give them the negative side of your body, not the positive side. So you got to know how to stand. Where's your eyes, your throat, your solar plexus, and your testicles? What direction are they facing? Well, definitely not toward him. Mm-hmm. So you don't stand up and put your finger in their chest with your body wide open. That's not the best thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. So you can scratch your ear and turn sideways. You can do something. So just little things like that.
Yeah.
But you just know it. And again, the idea is fear, right? I mean, that's when you get into a confrontation, that's the first emotion that pops up, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you don't know something, you're afraid of it. When you don't know what to do, you're afraid.
Right.
When you don't know what to say, you say the wrong thing. When you don't know how to act, you behave in the wrong way. Understand? Get the flow of it?
Yeah.
So we do this instinctively, but without conscious awareness.
Right. Is there a value then to putting yourself in unfamiliar situations?
Of course. There's great value in it. There's great lessons in those situations that you put yourself in that you've never been in. Why would you? I mean, the problem with us, if I may, is we have created a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And this comfort zone is leisure. It's relaxation. It's, no, I can't do that. Why? Because it's a challenge. No, I don't want to challenge myself. That's too hard. That takes effort. That takes time. That takes energy. I don't have it. Mm-hmm. So it's, yes, of course, they say do the tough things first.
Right.
If I were to train on a technique, for example, just making a martial arts analogy, if I may, when I'm teaching someone, I don't teach them what they know and what they're good at. Why? They're already good at it.
Yeah.
I teach them what they don't know. I teach them what they're afraid of. This is a benefit to them. Now, in saying that, I want to just say something because it just clicked in my mind. That's kind of funny. Not funny, haha. But Bruce had a gift. And Bruce first of all, he had many gifts. Now, I'm not going to offend anybody. If I offend you, that's your problem, not mine. So Bruce had a gift. His gift was he knows and knew exactly what he's good at. So every time he got around people and he wanted to show off, he would always do what he knows he can do better than anyone else on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He will put you in a defensive position, have you stand up with your feet apart, flat-footed, and then I'm going to do a 3-inch punch. Well, who do you think has the advantage?
Right.
I'm going to throw a back fist, see if you can stop it. And he decides when and at what speed. So who has the advantage?
Right.
So any instructor worth their salt in teaching students will use this philosophy, this technique, this idea of how to control the situation. So when you teach in a class and you're doing a demonstration and you're going to demonstrate to your student, you pick the student that you're going to knock the piss out of sometimes. A lot of times instructors do this. They get a poor guy up there that asks a question, wants to know something. They get his butt up there and they just slap him around for 2 seconds. The guy like, holy shit, what did I do wrong? Nothing wrong. But you're doing what you do best. He's at a complete disadvantage.
Yeah.
So are you going to look good? Well, you may look good physically, but you're an asshole for behaving like that.
Right. Yeah.
For bullying your student.
Yeah.
But this is what, when you go out to do a demonstration, what are you going to perform? What you've never practiced before? Of course not. Why? I'm going to look stupid. That's not my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to go like, holy shit, did you see that? You want people to be awed by what you do. And what can you awe them?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta awe them at the only thing you can do the best, and you better do that over and over again.
Right.
So that's what you do.
If
Use that as an analogy.
Yeah. So if I present a student then with something that he or she is not yet good at, I'm going to encounter some resistance from them, correct?
Of course.
Okay. So now how do I deal with
normal?
Yeah. So, okay. So now how do I deal with that resistance?
Well, I have a philosophy that's kind of weird. Anybody that asks me a question really knows the answer. Otherwise, you were not capable of asking. So I'll let you answer your question. Go ahead.
I think that I'd have to explain to them that resistance is normal.
But they already know that.
Then
intuitively, they already know that.
Yeah. Huh.
They know what you're teaching them. They don't know.
Right.
They're going to resist it. So you already know this as a teacher. So how are you going to overcome that?
I think then I'll try to reassure them that they can put their trust in me, that I will not teach them anything that won't ultimately benefit them.
Okay, but they are human beings, right? They learn physically. So how are you going to show them physically that you can do this? How are you going to reassure them physically?
I have a thing where I'll show it to them quickly, and then we'll do what we call extend the movement time, which is to slow it down. And
okay.
so I explained to them that it's a phrase that I came across from a TV show, that slow leads to being smooth, and smooth can lead to being fast, and fast is where you become lethal. So I would try then to explain it to them that this is all a step-by-step process.
Okay.
And based on what you're making me do, I would say to them, and I know that you already know that it's a step-by-step process. So let's go through this step-by-step process together.
Okay, let me interrupt you if I may for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't use processes.
Okay.
I just mentioned earlier that once you create a separation,
mm-hmm.
you must deal with that separation.
Mm-hmm.
When you create another aspect of yourself, you must now deal with that creation. So now that's going to take you time, energy, money, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you eliminate the process, then life becomes instantaneous. Now, what? Remember when I told you that everything I do was effortless?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I never really had, of course, I learned physically the techniques.
Yeah.
Much of my learning was through vision, right? They demonstrate, I look, I emulate, I copy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how we teach?
Mostly, yes.
Okay, so it's a process.
Yeah.
So we take people through a step-by-step process. The process is a long time. I was told my first day in karate, it would take me 5 years to get my black belt.
Right.
That's what my teacher told me my first day.
Yeah.
So imagine how long of a process 5 years is.
Yeah.
Now what did I do to interrupt his pattern of believing and telling me my first day, it'll take me 5 years? What did I have to do to convince him it's not taking me 5 years? I will show you I am, that's present time,
Yeah.
not I'm going to be,
Yeah.
not I'm trying, not someday, not maybe, not what if, not the process, but now, instantaneously, in the moment I exist, I will do what you want me to do. Why? Because I say I am that idea, and I am means in this moment. I am. I will do my very best now.
Right.
It's not a process. I don't, even now when I teach my students, everything is present time. There is no come back tomorrow because you may get hit by a truck on the way home.
Yeah.
So today, I teach, you learn now. No process. We're going to do it now.
So
There's no process.
Yeah, it's be, do, have, so to speak. I am.
I don't worry about the do and have. The
Okay.
do and have,
Just
the
to
do
be.
and have will take care of themselves. That's a
I get it.
process.
I get it. I get it.
When you say be, do, have, now you're creating a process.
Right. Right.
Now Bruce came up with an idea that he said, I don't believe in styles or systems. I don't believe in conformity. Without realizing it, Bruce had to create a system and a style and a process and conformity. He created the most conformity idea he could, which is Jeet Kune Do. So he now, his belief created a system that everybody had to believe in. That's what everybody believes in, Jeet Kune Do.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was opposed to what he said the day he talked to everybody and said how your system is no good, your style is no good, it's not effective, it's not this. Let me show you my style. He created his own system.
Right. Yeah.
So in a sense, he was talking shit.
Yeah. Do you think he became aware that he was talking crap?
No, because he had an agenda.
Okay.
His agenda was not so much the martial arts, doing.
Mm-hmm.
The agenda was movies. His agenda, in the back of his mind, I know for a fact, we've had a lot of discussions.
Mm-hmm.
This was his primary focus and goal. Jeet Kune Do was the vehicle he used to create a following, introduce a system, introduce a style, introduce his personality, introduce his charisma. He was smart enough to understand what he was doing. And he knew it from the outset. Before the outset, he knew it.
What then is American eclectic karate?
Name something. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. All of it is, now I sounded like Bruce, right? We've gone full circle. No, but again, it's nonsense. All of this is nonsense. Now, I hate to say this, but I'm sounding like Bruce. And I don't mean to, but Bruce said it first, 55 years ago, whatever it was. So yes, I'm following what, yeah, I don't believe in it like he didn't believe in it.
Right.
And I don't want to create a system. I want to create a reality. And the reality is, listen, you have a perception. Your perception is your belief. Your belief is your truth. Your truth is your reality. I cannot argue with you, my friend.
Mhm.
If you tell me, Mike, this is this, I'm going to look you right in the eye, smile, and say, you're absolutely right. I won't contest you.
Right.
I have no right to disbelieve your soul's intent.
Yeah.
I only deal with people now on a soul level. I'm not interested in your mind, definitely not interested in your body.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what is your intention, your overall intention.
Right.
Who do you want to be? Not what do you want to do? Very
Yeah.
big distinction.
Yeah.
So in getting to that part of you, go ahead, you have a question.
Yeah, because you see, as I was reading your biography and when I read about the black belt in 9 months and what have you, and then going on the fight circuit, one of the first things I thought was, there's no way that he is fighting and winning as a Shorin-ryu stylist.
Of course not.
Right? I don't.
I was fighting as Mike Stone.
Right. That was the thought that I had. You know, so then later on, when I saw the American Eclectic Karate thing, I said to myself, I must ask him why that label, why that came about. But now you
yeah, go ahead.
No, you explained it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a compilation of everything, right? I mean, is the Japanese style from Japan or did it come from China? I mean, listen, we can go back. I'm not interested. The history is history. We'll leave it. What people want to believe history is, allow them to have their own views. It's okay.
Right.
It's not going to change who I know I am. And the most, okay, I'm going to jump into another dimension if I can. Okay. Where we are right now, you and I, you're in Florida, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you're in Florida, I'm in the Philippines. We're quite far apart, distance-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Time zones-wise, time zone-wise, we're quite different. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But in universal time, we're both alive and exist right now, in this moment.
Yes.
So if we truly understand this idea, truly, then we must realize in this moment we are both existing in as knowable quantity is the only time, actual time. It's not actually time. We'll call it a location. This is the only place that we can die. Correct?
Yeah.
You and I can only die right now. Oh, excuse me, that moment passed. Now,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, that one is finished. You understand?
Yes.
So where we exist in the universe is where we actually occupy space. So right now is the only time or location we can actually die. So that means, if we understand this clearly, that this is the only place and time we can actually live. Live. I say the word broadly. We can only live now.
Now.
When? Yes, in this moment.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the only time that truly exists. I don't exist in the 2 seconds before or the 5 minutes or 5 years or 5 months later. I exist now.
Somebody who wants to understand that philosophy, what's difficult for them to grasp about that?
Your question. You keep giving me these challenges. I appreciate that. I love you.
Well, see, because I sometimes I try not to be what people would consider too esoteric.
Why? Is there somebody you need to impress?
I think it's the, you know what it is? I'm not yet at the point where I can be alone.
Okay.
And, you know, be 100% comfortable with being alone. So I find that I have to do things in order to relate to others.
You will never find a better friend than you.
Mhm.
It's okay to be alone.
But this interview is not supposed to be about me.
Why not? Are you and I so different? It cannot be about you.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding with you about that. I think it's incredible. It's incredible because, like you just said, there is nothing other than the present moment.
Yes.
As cliche as it sounds, because, you know, there are people who will tell you, oh, the past is whatever and the future is whatever, all that. That's something that people say a lot. But
let me explain something. Let me explain something just briefly while you're on that point.
Mm-hmm.
I understand this, if you will. I am creating my future and my past from this moment I am living. This moment becomes my immediate past, and I step into my immediate future. So I am creating my future moment by moment into 5 years, 10 years from now. Who cares? I don't care. I'm creating it now. Just like the ideas of goals, for example, goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to set a goal. You live your goal now. So you attract and bring in the things you perceive you want, need to have in your future, and you bring it here now. Why? Because that's where you exist.
Yeah.
So there is no process.
That calls for the ultimate in trust and belief in one's capabilities.
But who on earth is not striving for that anyway? I mean, isn't that your journey?
Right.
Isn't that your process? Why not make the process your life? This moment, I'm creating my future.
Yeah.
This moment, I created my past. If you are present, then you make very little, quote unquote, mistakes in life. Why? Because you're creating it in the moment you exist. You don't give yourself time to mess up.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
When you allow yourself the convenience of time, your perception of it, you now allow yourself for a comfort zone. I have a cushion. I can't get it in 1 year. I need 4 years. Oh, you get 4 years later. Oh, I didn't get it. Oh my God, I failed. Well, let me extend it another year. You keep doing this with your whole life until, holy shit, I'm 80 years old. Where did my life go? You keep extending your life. You keep projecting yourself into a time that does not exist.
Right.
What? The future. It doesn't exist now. But you're here now, so why not do your best where you exist? If you want an idea, if you want to see yourself being something, you know the phrase, right? Act as if.
Yeah.
If I teach my student about a concept he is not familiar with, he is afraid of, he's never done it, I am challenging him now to act as if you are that idea. In the moment you are doing this expression. All of a sudden, people get amazed at themselves. They go, wow, that was so easy. You're such a good teacher. No, you're an excellent student. You have understanding.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. so somebody who wants to follow up with you on this and get in touch with you, is Mike Stone Martial Arts the best place to go for it?
Yeah, I think I have a Facebook page and another couple pages, but yeah, just through Facebook.
Yeah.
Mike Stone Karate or Mike Stone Martial Arts or something. I don't know I really don't even know why.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not joking. I don't have a clue.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, sir, I thank you again for spending some time with me and for challenging me as well.
Oh, as you noticed, it was my pleasure. I love to see you squirm in the seat there. And you got some of your own medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say publicly thank you to Tim Becker for putting us in touch with each other and helping us to do this. So I hope this was worth waking up for.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you once again, sir. And you have a great day. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much as well.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's something in the air, a sport that's taking over the people everywhere. It's something to believe in. Just open up the door. They're all participating, practice every day. Tournaments and trophies, you fight to earn your way. It's something to believe in. What are you waiting for? It's coming on strong. You know where you belong. It's not too hard to see. You know what we believe. Karate in America. Man that has control. His heart, mind, and soul. The stand against the odds. With 40 million strong. Like lightning, feet are on the floor. A flying kick will send you rushing through the door. The weapons never master. Could you ask for more? Could you ask for more? Bruce Lee will live forever. His name stands alone. An undefeated champion, superstar Mike Stone. Chuck Norris in the movies. Could you ask for more?
Legendary Mike Stone. Mike Stone's career began back in the 60s, while still a junior in high school. And throughout the years, his legend grew as he competed in karate tournaments all across these United States. His list of accomplishments seemed endless, from U.S. National Karate Championships to Black Belt Hall of Fame, from a world record karate flying sidekick to author and screenwriter. This is Mike Stone, undefeated champion.